Hey guys, this is Katie Wafer, owner of Hydrate IV Bar. I was here, just did my podcast on Boss to Boss with my good friend Miro. Hope you like it.
So tell me, why do I want an IV and why do I want to stick it into my arm? Why? Why?
Why would you not? So this is a very common question that we get asked. Why would I willingly put an IV, put a needle in my arm? So there are such a wide range of benefits to what we're doing. Who wouldn't want to look better, feel better, perform better and recover faster? It's a really good quick fix for a lot of different ailments.
But is it only a quick fix or is it a long-term fix as well?
That's a good point. No, so it's not just a quick fix. 75% of our business is doing this preventatively to stay on top of their health. And that's really what we're trying to promote and encourage is, this is one piece of the puzzle. Put this into your whole health and wellness basket. You have your gym membership, you are getting massage, acupuncture, you're doing all these things. This is kind of the basis of going back to just the importance of nutrition and proper hydration. And so you're right. Most people, most of our clients and ourselves are doing this regularly for a long time to kind of build that plateau and stay healthy.
Everybody tuning in, that's Katie Wafer of Hydrate IV Bar. I'm sure if you're in the Colorado area, Denver specifically, right, in Boulder, then then you've definitely ran into one of these at some point. I'm sure she's been featured all over, you name it, pretty much any stations and magazines, right, and all types of prints. That's hydrateivbar.com or on Instagram at hydrate_IV bar. Katie Wafer. And I'm sure Denver's not the only stop, right? I'm sure there's other things in the works, if I had to take a guess.
That's the plan. We started 3.5 years ago. We had a big vision, big dream. Started with one location. At the time that was, starting any business is risky and scary and all the things. But especially 3.5 years ago, we were really the first in the market to do this type of boutique service business model in Denver. And since we have a lot of competition, a handful of competition, but we also have been able to expand to 4 locations within 3.5 years. So
pretty
big
quick.
It's been pretty quick. Yes, it's exciting. I'm very grateful for our own success, but really the industry in general is growing. Competition's good. It's helping educate everyone that this is available and really what the benefits are and why you would do this.
So interesting point you bring up. You bring up the gym and the healthy eating and I don't know. Did you mention tanning? There are still tanning booths in gyms. But is it something that we might start seeing across gyms? Because I don't think I've seen it yet.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the growing fad 5 years ago, and I shouldn't necessarily say fad because it's still going strong, were IV therapy to help with hangovers. And so you saw this popping up in LA, Vegas, New York, some of these big markets, and celebrities were getting their IV drips. So that's one side of it, and certainly it works very well for that. It really, it's helping any type of dehydration. But what we find and kind of what is gaining popularity right now, and certainly what was our main focus, is really tapping into the health and wellness, alternative medicine, kind of the prevention side of medicine. And that is what is really, I think, taken over with athletes, with just health conscious adults.
So what can you, I guess, for me, myself, like personally, what would getting an IV replace? Like, is there something I don't have to do anymore if I start doing this? Will I, like, what instant, I guess, effects?
Superpower.
A superpower. Like if I'm not drinking all the time, like what are the other effects?
Yes, absolutely. So in general, we always encourage, like, do things as normal. You still need to take you should still take multivitamins. You should still eat very healthy. You should still drink a ton of water all day long. So, this isn't to necessarily take place of anything that you should already be doing to live a healthy lifestyle. But this is one way we always say this brings your gas tank to full. So it's easy to get dehydrated when you are doing physical activity, when you're out in the sun, when you travel to Colorado and we have the high altitude, it's just super dry. So different climates, environmental factors. If your body is sick, so if your immune system is really working hard, these are all things that run down your body at a more rapid rate. Also, in a perfect world, we would get a balanced nutrition from our food, and that's just not realistic. So in theory, like magnesium, for instance, is one of the hardest minerals to get from our foods, but such a important part. And so all the vitamins that we have, they're water-soluble vitamins, and the benefit of getting them intravenously, which is through the vein, you're getting 100% of the nutrients directly into your bloodstream. So a lot of times, even when you go, a lot of supplements, oral supplements, are filled with junk that your body doesn't need.
Yep.
But then you go to Whole Foods and you spend a ton of money and you get these awesome supplements that are great. It goes through your GI system, and by the time you're absorbing, you're getting about 25% of the nutrients that your body needs. And so you still need to eat healthy. You still need to, do daily maintenance, but this is just a way to really boost. And, especially with the recovery side, if you are feeling run down, if you are sick, it's that quick fix, that rapid recovery right away, again, to get your gas tank back to full.
I've never actually done it yet, which is like blowing my mind. I need to.
Come on over. You need to.
Is it as quick as they say it is? Like the days, like we had a celebration this weekend. And I don't have too many often anymore, but we did. It was a big occasion, and my Monday was pretty
rough.
bad. Yeah, for the first, there's a reason I don't miss this. And I mean, how quick is it?
It depends on where your body is at. So we have some people that come in, they feel great. They're not necessarily run down. They they are looking for energy or immune support, or they want antioxidants to help detox their body. So they may come in feeling much better, and they get one of our services. They may not leave feeling any different immediately. Some people look at me and I think they are expecting to have this like euphoric out of body feeling. So it's very common to maybe not feel any different immediately, but that doesn't mean that you're not still putting good nutrients into your body to work better. And then, we do have people that come in, especially here with the altitude, we see it so often. They're super dehydrated. They are feeling nauseated and dizzy. They have brain fog. They're just feeling very lethargic and tired. And in 30 minutes, you give them a liter of normal saline, these vitamins, and they are night and day by the time they're leaving. And so that's, we obviously I don't wish feeling sick on anyone.
Yeah.
That's when you really see the swing, is when someone comes in and they are under the weather. In 30 minutes, they're leaving, and it's a game changer. So that's very rewarding, especially when you can help someone so quickly, and it's saving them a trip to, urgent care or the hospital to get these fluids that they're depleted in. That's one thing that so many people don't realize, that, we have a medical director with 30 years of experience. We have emergency room nurses that work with us. So this is the same policies, treatment,
as you would get at a hospital.
You'd get in the hospital.
So is it nurses or doctor too?
So doctor as well. And then we have 38 registered nurses between the 4 locations.
Wow.
So most of our nurses, we do have a few labor and delivery. We have a few oncology, but either way, the nurses that we have are giving infusions to their patients in the hospital all day, every day. So they're unbelievable at what they do. They're very, very experienced. And I truly think, that makes such a difference, because although we want to have this, comfortable boutique spa-like atmosphere, it's still a medical service, and
right.
and very seriously, and you need to have, all the control there.
Because that's what makes yours different, right? There is a more like
That's
calm feel when you walk in, right?
Yes.
It's not like you're gonna walk in like that's what I dread. Like I think of these things and I'm like, I hate the doctor. I'm not the person that will faint, but I'll get close to it. I can't look at the
I used
needle,
to
I
be the
can't look at the
person
blood.
that would faint. Truly, I mean,
Wow.
before I opened this,
Mhm.
the thought of it would make me uneasy. I would start sweating, my
Yeah.
face, you just get super worked up. And so I'm very sensitive to people that come in. It's very common that people come in, they're nervous.
The
And
people
so,
coming in aren't the police in the background, right?
no, I know. Yeah, they weren't coming for me.
Good. We
So
hope so. That
that's
would
what,
be a first. That would be a
that's a
boss
city
to boss
living.
exclusive. Like if you got arrested or like someone got arrested in the middle of an episode, hands down, greatest episode ever.
We would get high rankings there. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll stage it. No. Let's see. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay, so
Sorry.
it was really, it was a priority of mine and our group, really the focus to build it on the experience. So we pay attention to small details to make it super comfortable. And yes, people love, we have a great referral base. We have a ton of great retention. We have a membership system. And so a lot of people, once they come in, they continue to come back. It's just getting comfortable that first time to try it. But when you're there, you're sitting back in a comfortable chair, you're disconnecting from your cell phone that you've been on all day. It's just, you're getting TLC from a nurse. It becomes this very relaxing, positive, wonderful environment. And so I truly believe that is what keeps people coming back is, yes, the fluids and the vitamins and the service that we're giving, but the whole experience and kind of atmosphere that we've created.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting over here and I'm like, why am I in this chair?
Fuck me up.
Not in that chair. No, it sounds amazing. It's definitely something I'd love to try out. And what is it like about magnesium and vitamins, getting into you more through your veins, I guess.
Sure.
What is the science behind that?
Yeah. So, when you're going intravenously, we can give you a lot higher dosages and it stays in your body a lot longer.
Is it
So
safe?
it is safe. It is, when done properly, when
Yes.
correctly, it's safe. Everything that we offer, they're water soluble vitamins. So if your kidneys are in good health, it's going to flush any excess.
Got it.
We are very conservative with the dosages that we give. This is all done by a pharmacist and our doctor. And so, we do this. This certainly is not for everyone. We do screenings when everyone comes in. We do a consultation. We look at everyone's, their current medical situation, then any medical history, and we're taking vitals. And we're looking at everyone at every time of visit to make sure that they're a good candidate at that time. If we're doing our due diligence and, and screening, it is very safe and effective.
Yeah, as with anything in the health industry, right?
Absolutely.
You need to be fully covered. Just
Yeah,
because.
and there are people that come to us and, it's not an easy conversation sometimes, but our nurses are professionals and they know when to identify, and they know when it's more appropriate for someone to be seen at the hospital or under the care of another provider. And so, whenever we have had to turn someone away, especially if it's maybe an underlying health condition, they usually are contacting us afterwards saying, thank you so much for being this first line. They were maybe more open to coming to us versus another doctor. And so now, it's kind of neat to be able to bridge that and tell them, listen, it really is important for you to be seen by another provider. And
Yeah.
here's why.
What's the most uncomfortable situation you've had? If you can't share it, I totally understand. But there is one without any names.
We've had, it's hard. It's online. It's an IV. IV bar. People know there are needles. We've had someone come in thinking that there's people that have come in because they think we're a detox clinic. There's
Okay.
people that come in literally because they want to be stuck with a needle. And so that's really, it's difficult and it's kind of challenging, but you're also sympathetic to some of these, not that we're going to do it obviously, but it's an interesting situation to be in because, you're turning someone away for something that is, an unhealthy habit that you really want to be able to help them with.
Have you partnered up with like an addiction clinic?
Not at this time. There are other providers in the area that do specialize in that. And so certainly being able to bridge that gap and help them, whether it's a referral program. So we don't work directly with anyone, but there are certainly some other people that we can refer out to. On a positive note, I have one of my favorite stories. So our spas we do have a private room for people that don't feel well or just want some privacy, but in general, you walk in, it's one big living room, more or less. So it's a very social atmosphere. And it's very common that complete strangers come in, they sit next to each other. It's a vulnerable situation. You're sitting there, with a catheter in your arm, you're kind of hooked up, you can't leave.
Yeah, I'm putting myself in the shoes.
Yeah, and all of a sudden everyone starts chit-chatting and telling stories. And so we have had a couple get married because they met at our spa. They were sitting next to each other. And we also have had a few blind dates meet there. And it cracks me up because I think,
shut up. Actually meet there as their first dates?
That was their first date first.
No way.
Times to many different people. And so it's so funny to us thinking, these people they literally just met and they're going to sit here and this was their, date, their activity. So that's pretty fun.
That's got to be one of the most interesting first dates ever. What makes you want to just go date again just this one time?
Right?
Just this one time, this one hall pass, just to try that. Wow. So before you dove into this, because you're fully into it now, what was the journey of kind of getting here? Was there a moment when you were just like, I've had enough, I'm done with working for the man, I'm done with kind of taking orders, and I'm going to take control? When was that?
Sure. So I graduated college with a business degree. I had a pretty good idea that I wanted to get into sales of some sort. I am definitely not your typical 9-to-5, sit at a desk. Just there's no way. And so my parents, my family, I have many people in my family have been in sales and just out in the community and networking and doing events. And that was much more my personality. So out of college, I got into medical sales. I've always loved the medical industry. Would love to be a doctor one day. And that's what I always thought I would do. But again, I grew up terrified of needles, scared of blood, faint.
That's odd.
It's bizarre that
Are you still trying
fear? No, now it
to
doesn't.
be a doctor one day?
No.
No, past that.
I'm past that. But I love the industry. So I got into medical sales and it was a grind. It was great. I had a home office, I had flexibility, but it's commission based. You're sometimes dealing with some very difficult personalities and people, and it's a grind. And so I loved it. But there were just things that I think, one moment that I can think of right now, when you're in outside sales, you have a home office. I understand these big companies need to have some parameters and be able to control to make sure that their employees are working, right? But I had just a horrible manager, to be honest. And we constantly were having a 6 a.m. conference call for no reason, just to make sure we were all up. And then
every day, other day?
No, once a week. It would be, it was just silly, but it was stuff that, you know, was completely unnecessary, and it would just be this ridiculous meeting, no point to it, just to show our faces. And then I almost was fired once because I took a conference call 4 p.m. on a Friday while I was on the train to the airport for like a 7 p.m. flight. So in my mind, I'm thinking, one, I'm working, if we're going to say, you know, it's a typical 40-hour work week, one, I work way more than 40 hours a week anyways.
Yeah.
I work way longer than 9 to 5. If we're doing 6 a.m. conference calls, you know, so anyways, I almost got fired because the 4 to 5 p.m. I was on the train, still on the phone, but that was unacceptable. And I think that was one of those times where I was like, this
That's
is
rough.
Yeah, you're just beating your head against the wall.
Especially if you were working straight commission, like
it's commission,
pretty
performance based. I'm doing well.
pretty flexible.
Yeah. So, you know, at this time as well, though, I'm a little, what would the word?
You were feeling the itch.
Yeah, I was feeling it, but now I look at it, I'm like, I was only 24 years old. Like, what did I know?
Yeah, that is.
I was also just like, this is not how, like, I don't want to be bossed around like this. I constantly, and now that I think about it, I mean, super naive, but in my opinion, I just constantly thought I can do this better. Like, this is, I just want to do it myself. Maybe I realized I wasn't a very good employee. So I had to just become a boss. And
that's one way.
I did.
That's one way. Unemployable, right? Unemployable. Right. And then you kind of just had your aha moment. And did you know, like, this is what you're going to go into? I mean, it sounded like you were in medical health, no matter what, right?
So I kind of, I never got too obsessed with climbing the corporate ladder and doing everything the way it's supposed to be on paper. I'm much more of a just fly by the seat of my pants and I'll figure it out. And I think some of it, I mean, I do have amazing work ethic and I work very hard when I'm working, but I also love to travel. I love to, you know, I like to maybe do it on my own time in my own way.
Yeah.
So when I was 24, I actually transferred out to Las Vegas and I was doing medical sales in Vegas. And that's when I had first seen IV therapy really becoming very popular. But I thought it was just for hangovers and, you know, Vegas is a league of its own. And so kind of going back to I left Denver on a whim, just quit my job. This was mostly because of the manager I had. But even my parents at the time, you know, I'm 23, 24, despite this relationship that I couldn't stand with the company I was working for, I was still making close to 6 figures. I was doing so much better than.
It's hard to pass that up.
Yeah, I should have been so grateful, but at the same time, I was just like, nah, I'm over it. Let's change. So I moved to Vegas, took a job there, worked there. I got bored with that. I decided I wanted to go to Thailand and Bali for 2 months. So I left that and went and traveled. And so I constantly was just doing these things that made me happy that, you know, some people, my parents, everyone at the time just thought I was crazy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And so I moved back to Denver, and that's when I kind of thought, okay, I moved back to Denver with a job. So it wasn't like I was totally, but moved back to Denver and was just doing medical sales again and working with the doctors I used to work with. And I was just doing the same thing over and over.
Fell into like a tunnel, right?
Yeah, and there was no spark, no excitement. But I loved health and wellness. And so I truthfully, I had IV therapy stuck in the back of my mind. I had gone to some conferences across the country, and there were compounding pharmacies that were talking about this sort of service. I really just started hearing about it the more, or maybe I was just so fixated on it that it started coming up more and more and more.
Could have been it too, yeah. No, but there is definitely been a trend. I mean,
yeah. And so
sure.
I loved it, and everything I did kept going back to that. And so Honestly, how it's kind of a funny story. I went to a Habitat for Humanity to buy a dresser for the house that I had just bought because I wanted to paint it and reclaim it, make it all, fancy. And as I am loading the dresser into my car, there is a shipment that just had arrived, a donation of 14 reclining leather chairs. And they were brand new. It was a corporate donation. Someone had ordered them and they looked like the big, movie theater chairs that would recline. Yeah. And I looked at them, and this was in the middle of the day. I'm in I'm in a dress and heels on my lunch with my other job. And I see these chairs, and in 10 minutes, I had bought the chairs because I thought, these are the chairs. I'm going to start an IV clinic. That's it.
You just did it there?
I did it. They were super.
That's awesome.
I think they were $45 a piece.
Okay.
And I thought, it was something like, $600 for all the chairs. I thought, well, they're brand new. I can always resell them, but I'm going to buy them. And so I called out the rest of the day. I went and rented a U-Haul. I'd never driven a U-Haul before. Rented a U-Haul, had the guys help load up all these chairs, rented a storage unit, unloaded the chairs. And from that point on, I committed to myself that I would open an IV clinic. It took a year. Those chairs sat in storage for a year, and I spent more in storage than I ever did on those chairs. And those chairs we had for a year for the first store. We had them for about a year and then made new ones. But it truthfully, that's what kind of kicked it for me, which is silly.
Did they wear away or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like pleather. And they were peeling away, but it was special to me that,
Oh, that's so cool. Like you just did it.
I did it.
It should be so encouraging that sometimes it's something that might seem so silly and it's just like, buying a few chairs, but it was that commitment, right? Maybe because you put money into it and then you were paying money monthly.
Exactly. And I think because in my head, that's when I committed that I was going to do this. When I opened, I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have these big investors and people and professionals necessarily on my side. I had attorneys draft up everything, but I was very much I was pretty naive, but I just thought, this is a vision. I would love to do this. I love the service. I know I can get people in the door. And just the more I don't know why, but I was never really scared of it at all. And, in my head, I thought I was, mitigating risk, thinking if it completely fails, then it fails. And I move back in with my parents and I go get another medical sales job. And then I work my way back up and I'm fine. And for me, I remember thinking, that this time I was 26 and I was like, I don't have children. I don't have a mortgage. What, I'll regret so much if I never try. Yeah, this is the time. And that's something that really, I think, however big or small the risk is, so many people have more resources than I did, more money than I did, more experience than I did, or better ideas, and they just don't do it. Whereas I was just totally fearless and never questioned it, and I just did it. And it happened to be a good idea.
So yeah, it definitely worked out for you, but I feel like for others, that's like the polar opposite of what most probably would do. Would you recommend that at all? And do you have any tips?
I would, and not to say it's just been smooth sailing either. This has by far been the most challenging experience, but it's also the most rewarding. And so, it's so exciting looking back. It's certainly become bigger than I thought it would be, but it has been a lot harder than I ever could have imagined. And a lot of that because I didn't have the right policies in place. I didn't have, I was trying to do every single job when now I know it,
can't be done. Right?
It's worth paying the professionals to do what they do rather than pretending I can do it, half as well. And so I've learned a ton. I've worked my booty off. Now, I have so much support and friends and family and so many people that help me. So, but if anyone has, I would say 100%, try and fail over sitting back, being unhappy with what you're doing.
You can always go back.
You can always go back.
It's something that I always throw around, that I feel like these companies need us more than we need them.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be an opening somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's pretty amazing, when you open up one door, it has absolutely snowballed. I mean, all of a sudden the universe starts giving you what you need, and other doors are opening, and things that were really challenging become much easier. And then different challenges just come up for, whatever reason. But it's a pretty exciting ride. Mm-hmm. I've talked to some other business owners or entrepreneurs, and there are some days where I am on cloud 9 pinching myself, and then there are days where still I am like, what the heck am I doing? Like, why did I sign up for this?
Why did I get into this, right? Yeah.
It's extreme highs and extreme lows often. Every day there's something really high, something low, but it's all worth it.
And you mentioned travel. Like, have you gotten to the point where you can actually travel freely, or are you still kind of like on edge at all times? Because that's where I'm at still.
Yeah, no, I truthfully have such an amazing team right now. And it's a blessing and a curse that I'm not the service provider. So I am not a nurse. I cannot administer the services that we have. Really bad when we're short-staffed, when someone calls out. Mm-hmm. No matter how hard I'm willing to work for my own business, I cannot do that job. We can't open without that person. So it's an interesting dynamic. On the other side, the business administration, the conference calls, the networking, the finances, the market, I can do that a lot of times remotely. And so I can be on the beach in France emailing my team. It might be, 4 a.m. when I'm talking to them, but it has allowed me the flexibility to be more remote. And it's also given me the flexibility to scale this business the way I have, because I'm not locked down to one store seeing the clients myself. So I have our medical team. Mm-hmm. They're amazing, day to day with the clients. And then I get to kind of float between all of the stores. So it's an interesting dynamic, but I am fortunate. I still travel.
I guess question with that part that comes about, like for me personally as well, and I'm sure others, when you do go, do you say you go, or do you try to kind of play it on, the low end and like hop into a Starbucks for the meetings and, like, cause you get to a point where you're wondering like, when will the employees be like, is she traveling all the time?
Absolutely. No,
not that you do, but
it's certainly a fine line. I mean, I don't want to be, social media makes it very difficult. So it's almost impossible to disappear and not show that you are.
It's just sad, right? I think it's sad.
I constantly, there's times where, a night or two, I'll go up to the mountains and I'll sit up there, and it's just, I won't tell them. Obviously it's the same time zone, so it's easy. Yeah. I need to decompress. I need space. I need to think. And they know that that's what's best for the company in general if I need to get away. Certainly if I'm going overseas or on a long trip, I tell them, and we have the right systems in place, but I'm still very accessible. I'm committed to our team and being the leader and being involved. And there are multiple times, not that I'm traveling that often, it sounds like I'm always gone, but you do what you have to do. I would rather set my alarm and wake up in the middle of the night and be on a call with our team than not be able to do that. So if you can be flexible, we make it work.
And that's kind of a point like I'm trying to get myself towards as well. And I think that's such like an amazing perk that's possible when you kind of do start something up on your own.
Otherwise you get back into, you start letting the business control you. And that's why I got into this. I don't want the business to run me. So I think it's important that, you still have to set
Yeah,
parameters. Self-care is still important for me. I
it
still
is.
need to do yoga, and I still need to, check out, and I can't be so obsessed with running the business. But I'm getting better at it now. First year, I was not so good about it.
Well, I'm hoping things change. When was like that point for you that it kind of clicked that like, okay, it's possible. I could finally do both things.
I think some of it, certainly the experience, but some of it was just a maturity thing for me. Um, you know, Today where I'm at, I'm more confident in the business that I'm running. Um, we have a proven track record. So all of that just there's not as much that surprises me anymore. In the beginning, I needed everything to be perfect at all times.
Freak out, right?
Yeah. And so I was much more high strung, and I just, not that there's not pressure now, but I have been able to let things roll off my back. I've been able to handle conflict and manage our team better. And so a lot of it was just the confidence and the experience and mentorships. I mean, having the right people that I can lean to, having good partners that can help me, that has made it significantly easier. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
No, that's definitely very interesting. But now we're on to our listeners' favorite segment of the show.
Welcome to the round with no name, because they're all taken.
Yeah.
All right, so time to get the blood flowing a little bit more.
Oh gosh.
And in light of the IV, and everybody, be sure to check out Katie Wafer at hydrateivbar.com or on Instagram at hydrate_IV bar. But now it's the moment of truth. You get 5 seconds. 5 seconds to initiate each answer. We just don't want you to think too much. We just want you to kind of just go with the flow, and whatever you think of first is what's going to stick online with this podcast for the rest of your life, and it's going to follow you everywhere.
My parents listening ask me.
Otherwise, my producer, Steve, he kind of comes out. He's always lurking in the background at my house. I don't know why. And he comes out and just gives me a hard time. And I don't want to have to deal with him.
No, let's do it.
Yeah. So without further ado, what is your favorite book?
0 to 1, Peter Thiel.
Ooh. What is the favorite movie?
Titanic.
Classic. What is your favorite podcast?
Yours, duh. Boss to boss.
How do you drink your coffee?
Black.
You know what they say, right?
Ooh.
You know what they say. We'll get to it later.
I really like oat milk. That's my new thing. I'll put oat milk in it.
I don't know. I might have tried it one time. Might have.
Very trendy in Colorado right now.
Trendy? So if it's trendy out there, it's only a matter of time before it gets to Chicago and everywhere else. Yeah. But what is the one item that you wear every day, or maybe something you like consume that you just need on you every single day? It makes you like you need it. You're not addicted to it.
Sunscreen, because I did way too many tanning beds when I was younger, and now my skin. So it's sunscreen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So somebody told.
That was an answer.
Huh?
You're like, that was not a good answer. That was
boring. No. I was like, so this is it. It's true, because someone told me to start wearing sunscreen, that it helps with like aging and just like everything, and I was like, always in denial. But
sunscreen and anti-aging IVs. That's all you need.
Oh, there's an IV for that too?
Oh yeah.
There's an IV for everything, huh?
Yes.
I knew it. If you had an unlimited amount of money and you could start up any business you want, not yours though, what would it be?
Any amount of money, I would do a nonprofit for sure. I would.
Anything specific?
I'm on the board of a children's charity right now, and so specifically children just tug at my heart. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, the goal would be to be Bill Gates, right? And just have employing people to play with your money. And I love that.
Is entrepreneurism a fad?
No. In fact, the more entrepreneurs I meet that start one company, they all of a sudden have the itch and start many more. And that's kind of what I see is, I've started one, and now, of course, I want to scale the business that I have, but I'm constantly thinking of other ideas or spin-offs of the company we already have. And so I think, no way it's a fad.
Curveball. Is it an addiction then?
Yes, I think so. I think
right. Are we replacing our other addictions from the past with the new entrepreneurism to make up for it?
This is a healthy one.
I hope so. And last but not least, how would you take me if I walked into a business meeting with you about trying to expand your business and I had socks and sandals on?
Yes. The reason I say that.
Best answer ever.
No, it's
How serious would you take me?
My boyfriend wears socks and Birkenstocks all of the time.
Oh, okay.
It drives me crazy, but it's hilarious. But
awesome.
I see socks and Birkenstocks every day.
So you see potential.
Oh yeah,
So you
fit in Denver.
Awesome. Well, that being said, you made it. I made it. I did not have to run into my producer, so we're good. You're in the clear. Any closing thoughts? Everybody, it's Katie Wafer with HydrateIVBar.com. Thanks so much, for being on today. It's definitely been a pleasure. It's been a great time and such an informative episode as well. Just because this is something that they are popping up more and more. So it's only a matter of time.
I would just encourage people to, obviously pay attention to your diet, what you're eating, what you're putting into your body. Your health is the most important thing you have. Drink lots of water and look for an IV therapy clinic in your area and just give it a shot. Call us if you have any questions. Come see us in Denver.
Do we call you directly? Do we call the shop? Do you go on the website?
Yeah. Visit our website, and then there's 4 locations, and you can call each location individually based on your location.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. It's definitely been a pleasure having you on, and look forward to seeing what the future brings.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That is all for this episode of Boss to Boss. Your next step is to visit bosstoboss.com, where you will find proven techniques followed by professionals to help you make that next step. Again, that is boss2boss.com. And remember, the time is now.